All right, what's up, YouTube? I wanna do a quick video because I already seen the responses from like the followers and the subscribers, and just on social media in general about Shawn Porter and ruining the fight with Andre Berto. Okay. Now this is how I feel about it. I like Shawn Porter. Okay. I understand that he has this rough housing style, this football style. Okay, he comes in head first. A lot of people used to complain about the same thing with Tim Bradley. You know, if you look at Tim Bradley's older fights, a lot of guys used to get cuts from fighting him, right? Devin Alexander got his first loss when he fought Tim Bradley. You know, the same thing. That's a perfect example. If you ever seen that fight, you know what I'm talking about. This is the thing with Shawn Porter, and this is why I think he is an elite fighter. We already know what he fights like. All right, we know how he fights. And one of my subscribers just hit me up on Twitter and asked me if I think he always fought that way. Like, does he fight like this every fight? He doesn't fight like this every fight. To answer your question, he doesn't, because he pick and chooses how. And listen, he's always going to rumble. He's always going to be rough. He's always going to be extra physical and aggressive. He's always going to be that way. But when he fights certain guys that actually move well, he changes it up a little bit. Right, you saw the Keith Thurman fight, which is the last fight we seen him in before Andre Berto. You see in that fight where he mixes it up. Like, he did a lot of, you know, rough body shots and everything like that. But the thing is, he only did that when Keith was on the ropes. Keith put himself on the ropes, you know, at points of the fight, and he stayed there. But usually when Keith was in the center of the ring, Keith had more success. The thing is, with that fight, Shawn Porter showed that he could make very great use of his jab, which he did in that fight. He actually out-jabbed Keith in that fight. And this is what made that fight so debatable, because Keith was supposed to be the outboxer. He was supposed to be the one with the skills, and he was supposed to outbox Shawn Porter. But there were points in that fight where it seemed like Shawn was getting the best of him with that jab. He was out-jabbing Keith Thurman. That's a fact. He was definitely out-jabbing Keith Thurman, which was a good surprise. But if you look at his track record, right, and this bird wants to just be here just because I'm here doing this video. Every time I do a video outside, the birds want to come out or whatever and interrupt my video. But anyway, the thing is, if you look at his fights, right? Let's break down Shawn Porter and look at his fights. You look at the Thurman fight, right? You look at the Kell Brook fight, 2 fights that he lost. Kell Brook obviously did much better than Keith Thurman, because I don't think that fight was as debatable as the Kell Brook fight wasn't as debatable as the Keith Thurman fight. Kell Brook moves extremely well around the ring, better than Keith Thurman does. You know, Keith Thurman, a lot of guys are saying that Keith fights a little bit too much like Floyd, you know, doing, you know, the lateral movement and everything, you know, doing the pop shot and everything like that. This is why Porter in those fights don't seem like he's a football player. But when he fights a guy that is not mobile like that, like Andre Berto doesn't move that much. You know, he doesn't move that much. Devin Alexander back then, because that fight was rough too. A lot of people that didn't, I went to that fight live. A lot of people didn't like the fight with Devin Alexander because he was so rough with Devin Alexander. You know, because Devin Alexander really doesn't move that much. Paulie Malignaggi, a guy that could move well, but doesn't. You know, he keeps that wide stance, and he didn't have the power to really gain Shawn Porter's respect. So Shawn just obliterated him. Like, he just had no respect. He just went in there and just beat him down. You know, he just straight Mike Tyson, Paulie Malignaggi. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the Broner fight, Broner's another fighter where he was just overly aggressive, because Broner is a flat-footed fighter that, you know, he also has that wide stance, but he has a power. At least he had the power to gain some respect. You see how he dropped Porter in that last round. You know, but still, Porter easily won the majority of those rounds. So you got to look at it and compare who Porter is fighting against. You fight Andre Berto, a guy that you can get against the ropes and have your way with him. This is why he looked like a football player. I actually enjoyed the fight, but Shawn Porter, personally, to me, even though I think he is an elite welterweight, I don't prefer his style because it's just too rough, and there's headbutts and stuff like that. I get it. I feel the same way. Everything else about Shawn Porter I like. You got to look at Shawn Porter and say, all right, his work rate is incredible. You know, the guy keeps himself clean. He keeps himself in the gym. You know, he's always focused. His punch output is good. He has a lot of heart. His will to win is incredible. It's crazy. You know, I was watching a post-interview of the fight, the post-fight interview, and his father went up there and was talking about, you know, I think he was saying something. If you guys watch it, you know what I'm talking about. He said, if you didn't see it, check it out. His father was explaining as him growing up and learning how to box and everything. He was talking about how, you know, Shawn, oh, damn, he was saying how Shawn, you know, the pain, the hurt, you know, it doesn't matter. You just got to overcome the work, the hard work, and the hurt and the pain you're going to receive. You got to overcome that. And Shawn is just so relentless. He doesn't care if he's getting tired. He just goes and goes and goes and goes. You know, I think, what was it, a round before he stopped Berto, he was just doing nothing but body shots, like one, just going back and forth, There's combinations of body shots. This dude doesn't have the most, his style is not the style of a style in boxing that many prefer, you know, but it's effective. It's effective, you know, and this is why I respect this dude, because he's not as gifted as a Floyd Mayweather, or as far as like skill, you know, he doesn't have the reflexes of a Mayweather or a Roy Jones, or shit, even a Kell Brook, you know, even a Kell Brook. He's not as gifted as those guys. And this is why I said in a video maybe a couple years back, when I said, you know what, Shawn needs to get one of these trainers in there just to mix it up, just to change it up a little bit, because, you know, his father, you know, I'm not trying to disrespect his dad, but they need to bring something else into their game where Shawn could start doing things the proper way, I guess, but mix it up. He might not need it. You know, I think Shawn acknowledges that this is the way he fights. Dude used to play football. Dude started at 160. He's naturally a bigger guy. You know, he needs to work with what's working for him. He needs to stick to that. You know, it's not always pretty looking. You know, a lot of people will get turned off it. Like, I went to the fight, and it seemed like, even though Shawn is currently the more successful boxer, it didn't really seem like people in Brooklyn was really feeling him like that. You know, like, people were booing him. People were definitely pro Berto there. But, you know, I don't know. Like, I just feel like his style, even though it's kind of ugly, it's effective. But he changes it up. You got to at least notice that. You got to take, you know, pay attention to that, because if he fights a fighter that he has to respect, a guy that's a good boxer, that was moving and catching him with clean shots like a Kell Brook was, or a Keith Thurman was, even what's his name, Julio Diaz, a guy that he fought twice, it's not going to work with every fighter, you know, because Diaz, he fought Diaz twice. Diaz gave him a hell of a fight the first fight, you know. Shawn was winning the first half, and I think Diaz won the whole second half of that fight, you know, because when that roughhousing and that football style doesn't work, you got to fall back on your boxing skills. And the boxing skills are good, but it's not up there, you know. And you fight certain fighters. This is why, like, if he had fought Floyd Mayweather, I don't know if it wouldn't have worked, because Floyd he's so used to guys being the aggressor. These fighters they know before they fight Floyd that they're not gonna outbox him. A lot of fighters don't take that route when they're fighting Floyd. They're like, you know what? They're going to be relentless. They're going to be more aggressive. You know, Victor Ortiz went in there with Floyd to fight that way. Guerrero, that was their game plan. Maidana, that was their game plan, to be more aggressive. Canelo is one of the few that went in there and said, I'm going to try to outbox Floyd, and it didn't work out for him. Another guy that I feel like that I would love to see this fight, Manny Pacquiao. If he would actually start fighting guys outside the top ring. Manny Pacquiao would do well against Shawn Porter, in my opinion, because Manny Pacquiao is so quick, and he's so quick on his feet. Quick hands, quick feet, boop, 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 and he's out, and he's moving around again. You know, I don't think that would work with Shawn Porter, just like it didn't really work with Kell Brook. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's why certain fights, Shawn looks like he's overly aggressive, because you find a guy like Berto, you watch Berto and you look at his past fights and you look at how he lost. You look at him and you see that Berto always lost against a guy that was stronger, more aggressive, bullied him in the ring. And Shawn Porter that's why I said in the prediction video, Shawn Porter is the last person Berto should fight, because Shawn Porter's style is perfect for Berto. Berto is a statue. He's not moving nowhere. He sits down on everything he throws. But if you smother him, he has nothing he can really throw. You know, I mean, he had a little bit of success in the beginning, but as soon as Berto gets on the rope, or as soon as he slows down, he gets tired, you outwork him, you're going to get him out of there. You know, at the end of the day, you're going to get him out of there. You can either outbox him like Floyd, or you can outwork him, because that's how Berto lost in every single one of his matches. So I think with Porter, my preference is not his style, but it works for him. It works. I said a long time ago, if Gennady Golovkin were to fight a smaller guy from 147 to 154, I said this a couple years back maybe, I think if he were to fight anyone, Shawn Porter would have a tougher time against Shawn Porter. You know, Porter said, you know what, I'm going to move up. I'm going to fight Gennady Golovkin. Just because, even though Porter is still the smaller guy, Golovkin would have a harder time against him, just because of the way that he fights. Plus, the dude has a solid chin. You know, for him to take those punches for Kell Brook, because you got to remember, Kell Brook is the only one that really wobbled Porter continuously throughout that fight. He fought guys like Thurman, he fought guys like Berto, who landed clean shots, and they never really wobbled him. Kell Brook is the only one that really had him wobbled. I mean, you know, I think Thurman caught him with a couple shots that wobbled him a little bit, but I think Kell Brook with those straight right hands is the only one that really, they were so clean, and Porter didn't see them coming, that Porter kind of fell back a little bit. You know, he recovered quickly, but if I had to explain his style, that's the best way I could do it. It really depends on who he's fighting. You know, if he fights guys that are mobile and it's going to switch it up on him a little bit, he's going to change it up, and he has no choice but to box a little bit. And if he's fighting a guy that's strong, that can take the punches well, and, you know, that's durable enough to deal with him, he's going to have some trouble, you know. And that's the only way. I think as far as the fighters he hasn't fought yet, I think Pacquiao, what I gave him some trouble. I think Floyd, what I gave him some trouble. You know, those are the only two that I think really gave Shawn Porter some trouble if they fight him. Everybody else, I don't really know. You know, I think Porter would give Errol Spence a hard time. I think Porter would give, who else is at the top at 147? Everybody else, pretty much, he would have gave a hard time. All right? Even Tim Bradley, I think, you know, with the way they both fight. You know, Tim Bradley is crazy because you notice that Tim Bradley has the ability to fight like that, like Shawn Porter. Similarity. A lot of people always compare the two. But you notice when he fought Pacquiao, he wasn't fighting like that. He tried to outbox Pacquiao all three fights. You know, plus the injury, you always got to, you know, bring up the injury that he had mid-fight. But you notice that Tim Bradley couldn't fight that way with Pacquiao. Pacquiao's too quick on his feet. You can't really do that with him. You know, so that's just my way of explaining Shawn Porter's style. It's never going to be liked. You know, I think Porter is too good of a guy to ever grow a huge fan base. You know, the guy, he's way too humble. He's as humble as you're going to get. You don't, even compared to a guy like Andre Ward, he's way too humble. He's never going to say anything bad about anyone. Even look at the Berto fight. Before that fight, Berto was talking all this trash. He was on social media talking all this trash, and he knew Porter. They have history together. They know each other, and Berto was still talking trash. And Shawn Porter is just always going to sit back, be humble, be cool about it. You know, the guy's always with his dad. He goes to church, close to his family. Doesn't really party, drink that much. He's always in the gym. He's always going to be that guy that's never going to have a huge fan base no matter what he do. He could be everybody at 147, and he's still never going to have that huge fan base because there's no drama when it comes to him, unlike everybody else, you know? So anyway, that's my best way of really breaking down Shawn Porter and his style and why everybody feels the way they do about him. All right, drop your comments, let me know what you guys think. You know, I've been on YouTube pretty much all day. I'm off today, so I'm just catching up on things, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.